is April the 19th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful weekend so far. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the lies that we tell in active addiction. And why I want to talk about this today, I have no idea. I really don't. It's just been on my mind today for some odd reason. And I was outside doing some stuff earlier this morning and was just thinking about this. I was on my tractor doing some stuff out here in the woods too. It was on my mind during that period of time. And I was just thinking about, just all the things that, I just wasn't honest about back in those days. There was just so much deception going on all the time. In my mind, I thought I was just telling a white lie, but man, when you're telling 1,000 white lies every single day, it's just constantly one thing after another, and it's just simple little things, but I guess, for me, speaking for myself, I got so used to doing it all the time. It was just something that I did so often that it just wasn't even a big deal to me anymore. I'm not like that at all now. I just couldn't do it now. I'm completely 100% honest. I just would rather just tell the truth and just get it over with. If it's something that somebody doesn't want to hear, I'm just going to say it. And I'd rather just deal with it now than wait until later. It's just the way that I am. But back then, that was not the case. It was, just constant lies. And like I said, that's what I want to talk about today, is the lies that we tell when we're in active addiction. And let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that I have down here is the lies that we tell to our loved ones, that we don't drink that much, etc. This is something that I did every single day. I was never honest about the amount of alcohol that I was consuming. I would always tell my wife, I only had 2 drinks, or I only had a couple beers, or, and this is after I'd already had, 3 pints of vodka. I was constantly hiding vodka, and I was just talking about this just the other day, if not yesterday, I can't remember. All these videos started to come together, but I was always hiding little mini bottles. I'd have them in my socks. I would have mini bottles in my car. I'd have them in my backpack. They'd be hidden in between the towels in the bathroom. That way and I would do this in the morning before I would leave to go to work. I mean, that just shows the amount of deception that I was willing to go through. I would be let's say that it's Friday night, and I knew I was going to get off work at a decent time that Friday night, and I really wanted to have a good time that night. Before I would leave to go to work that morning, and I knew I was going to get off at 7 o'clock, and I got to come home and really drink that night, I would go ahead and slip a couple of mini bottles of vodka in between the towels in the bathroom. That way I knew that if I went in the bathroom, there was going to be liquor hidden in there for me. And I could tell my wife, I'm just going to the bathroom, I have to pee. And, I think she knew that I used to sneak off to the bathroom and take shots. So, she would look at me, and I would, I could pull my pockets open and be like, look, there's nothing in here. I'm not hiding anything. I just need to go to the bathroom. And my stash was already hidden in the bathroom for me. But that just shows, that is a big lie, it being deceptive. And I was lying about the amount of alcohol that I drank all the time. And I would lie to my parents if I went around to hang out with them. They asked, how much have you had to drink today? Just 2 drinks. And, they could obviously see that I was cross-eyed when I'd get over there. The next thing I have is the lies that we tell ourselves. I'm not going to drink tomorrow. Today is the last day. I'm only going to drink beer or wine. No more liquor, no more drugs, etc. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. we're telling ourselves, well, I'm going to go ahead and get this half a gallon today because I'm not going to drink tomorrow. So I need to go ahead and load up so I can drink as much as I want today because tomorrow I'm not drinking. And we know deep down inside that we're still going to drink tomorrow. But we're fooling ourselves. We're lying to ourselves. We're going to drink the next morning when we wake up. Or at least myself, I know I would. And I know there's a lot of people out there who did the same thing as well. They woke up in the morning and started drinking and told themselves that night that I'm not drinking tomorrow. Today's the last day. And it never worked out that way. I've got the lies that we tell to our bosses and our coworkers. Oh my gosh, this one right here. I'm sick today. Always an excuse. It's I'm sick, although you're hung over as all get out. You're always making an excuse every day when you're at work. Man, that Taco Bell that I had yesterday for lunch has really got my stomach messed up, knowing good and well that it had nothing to do with what you ate yesterday. It has to do with the fact that you drank, 3 bottles of wine the night before. That's why your stomach's tore up. That's why you're in the bathroom all day long. But we go around making these excuses to our boss and to our coworkers, and people see us. They see how bad that we look. I would go to work and I looked horrible. I mean, absolutely horrible. My eyes would be so bloodshot. And there were a lot of times, too, this used to happen to me quite often, as a matter of fact. I would throw up so much. I would throw up in the morning before I'd go to work, and I would burst blood vessels all in my eyes. My whole eye, right here, would be bloodshot red. It would be all blood. Because the vessel would just burst, and it would fill the white of my eye up with blood. And people would notice that. They would see it, and they would be like, man, what's wrong with you? And I always had some excuse. Oh, I hit myself in the eye. I stood up, and the cabinet hit me. It was just constantly trying to think about, how am I going to cover myself for this? Or how am I going to cover myself for that? And if somebody asks me about this, or if somebody asks me why do I reek of vodka right now, what's going to be my excuse? And then on top of it, trying to keep up with all the lies that you're telling all the time. Because you have to keep up with them. You're going around telling a lie about this, and a lie about that, and a lie about this. That stuff starts to add up really quick. And before you know it, you've told 1,000 little lies, and you're trying to juggle all this stuff, all the time, especially if you're at your job doing it. And then, you'll go up to one of your coworkers and start talking about something with them one day, and then, you'll say something, and they'll go, "What? Well, that's not what you said. You said yesterday that," and you're like, "Oh gosh, you just got caught up in your lie." And that's pretty embarrassing. And then next thing you know, you're backpedaling. You're trying to figure out a way out of it. Who wants to live that life? If there is one thing one of the worst parts about it is all the lies and the deception. And the amount of stuff that we're willing to go through just to cover our tracks, the amount of stuff that we're willing to go through to make sure that we're set up, like I was just talking about, hiding mini bottles in between the towels for that night. I'm already going ahead and stashing stuff in there so that I've got liquor for that night when I get home. It's insanity is what it is. Lying to police officers. This happens all the time. We get pulled over. How many drinks have you had tonight? I've only had 2 beers. I've only had 1 beer, knowing good and well that you've already had a case. I've gotten pulled over and lied about it. Now, I didn't drive drunk a lot. I would drive after I've been drinking a lot, but I wasn't really intoxicated, but a couple of times. It's just one of those things I just was afraid of driving. I didn't want to go to jail, but I did do it, but I just didn't do it that often. Now, I will say, if I had gotten pulled over a lot of times, I probably would have blown. So, it's still wrong. And I'm not trying to make any excuses for myself or anything like that. What I did was wrong. I just wasn't driving around with one eye closed. That happened one time that I can remember. So anyway, but Lying to the doctor. This is a big one right here. I only have a couple beers on the weekend. Although your blood pressure says different. And every time I went to the doctor, they would ask me, do you drink? How much? And I never was honest. Now, one, I didn't go to the doctor that much. I always would put it off. I'd put the lying to the doctor part, that's something that I always did. I never was honest with my doctor. The most I would ever tell him is that, I drink a 6-pack of beer on my days off in a day. I didn't tell him I was drinking a half a gallon of vodka every single day. And my doctors asked me to do blood work many, many times, and I always said no. I never was willing to do blood work because I knew good and well if I did blood work, it was going to be an automatic come back in here. We need to see you. You're going to the hospital. I was way too afraid to do that. I could not do that. There was no way. And looking back now, man, I wish I had done it. Because if I had had my blood work done, I know my numbers would have been through the roof. Would they have found it as being fatty liver? Could they have caught it? I don't know. Who knows when, my liver was fatty and when it changed over? I don't know. But I do know that if I'd gone to the doctor to have my blood work drawn, and they had, said, look, your numbers are through the roof, that might have scared me enough. And that's the whole reason I never did it, because I was too afraid to find out. But I lied to the doctor all the time. Here's another one, too, that I've got written down is, I'm not as bad as blank. You can just name whoever. And I think, I'm just going to use myself for example, but this is something I used to do all the time. I would, there was always somebody who would drink worse than I did that I knew. And I would always say, well, I'm not as bad as them. Now, these are people that I saw that were worse than me when we were out. I didn't know how they drank at home or anything like that. Because for myself, I was waking up drinking first thing in the morning and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the people that I would see around town. But, we would just, it's always this idea of, well, I don't drink as bad as this person. So I'm okay. And, if you've done that as well, I can stop when I want. Man, I told myself that every single day. Every single day I told myself that tomorrow I'm not going to drink. And then on top of it, there was always this idea that since I'm not going to drink tomorrow, that I'm going to drink as much as I can tonight. So it was almost a daily thing where I was like, basically binge drinking. Because I had this idea in my head every single day that I'm not going to drink tomorrow. It's just today, not tomorrow. So not today, I've really got to drink as heavy as I can, and I got to drink as much as I can because I'm not going to be able to do this tomorrow. I don't know what in the world I was thinking when I did that, because every single time I did that, and I did this, like I said, every single day. When I would do that, I would drink so much the night before that I would wake up the next morning every single day, and I was wondering if I was going to live through my hangover. I felt that bad when I would wake up in the morning. Every single day I would wake up, and it was like I would just open my eyes. And it was always like a gasp for air when I woke up in the morning. I was like, kind of like that. And I'd wake up. I didn't remember anything from the night before, and it was the first part of my day was just trying to recollect what had happened the night before, and I'm piecing little pieces together in the morning. Every single day, that's how my day started. Oh, man, I don't even like thinking about that. Anyway, I don't have a problem. I think this is something that I told myself for quite a while, is that I didn't have a problem. But I knew I had a problem towards the end of my drinking. But I definitely told myself I don't have a problem for a majority of my life. And I always told myself too, I can fix it. Because, it had been talked about me going to a rehab facility many times. And I always said, I can fix it. I don't want to go. I don't want to waste the money. I'm going to lose my job, yada, yada, yada. Name the excuse. I can't go do that. I can fix it. I'm going to get sober. I will show you how strong I really am. And I never was successful in doing that. I knew that game was going to be turned up. And the biggest one is lying to ourselves. We're going to change. We're going to start working out. We're going to start eating better. And I've got here, it's time to be honest about everything. And that is so true. I told myself that every single day, that I was going to get sober. I was going to change. I was going to turn my life around. I was going to get sober. I was going to start working out again, because I've got bugs crawling all over me right now, but I had gotten really, really overweight right before I got sick. I was 250 pounds. Now I have gained some weight here recently. I weigh about 155 pounds now. I've weighed 145 pounds for like the past 2 years, and I just picked up about 10 more pounds. How I picked that up, I don't know, but I picked up some weight. But I was all the way up to 250. I was a big guy, and it was all in my belly. All the fat was in my belly. And I always had this idea that I'm going to stop drinking tomorrow, and I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start getting healthier. I'm going to turn my whole life around. I'm going to start being more positive. I'm going to start eating better. It never happened. Every single day was the same thing. I woke up, told myself, I'm not going to do this to myself again tonight. Within an hour, I was drinking, and it was off to the races from there. And then I told myself this whole thing. I'm not going to drink tomorrow. I'm going to drink as much as I can today. And that happened every single day without fail. I lied to myself every single day. I'm sorry, guys. It is like, there's like pollen and dust all in the air today. My mouth is so dry, and it's like getting in my lungs right now. So sorry I have to keep drinking a drink, but there's a lot of pollen and dust in the air right now. But anyway, like I said, it's just something that I wanted to talk about today. It's just all the lies that happen when we're in active addiction, because it does happen. And when we get sober, we don't have to do that anymore. We can be completely honest with ourselves, and that's one of the most important things about this, is being honest with us. And when we get sober, there's no reason to lie anymore. There's nothing to lie about, and that's the craziest thing about it. And by getting sober as well, I have found the strength to be honest about everything. I feel like getting sober gave me so much strength also. I learned so much about myself through these past couple of years. And it's not like as soon as I stopped drinking, the next day I woke up and I've got all these realizations about myself. No, it's taken the past few years, and I'm still working on myself every single day. But I have learned a lot of things about myself. And one of the things that I've learned about myself is that I can be honest with people, and that I don't have to lie. And one of the things that I think is one of the most important things about this too is that I can tell people no. And you can tell people no as well. It's like tomorrow, I was responding to someone in the comments earlier, and they were saying that they weren't sure if they were going to go to their Easter dinner tomorrow, because I don't remember what the reason was, but they said that they weren't sure if they were going to go because they didn't know if they could stay sober, I think is what they were saying. But I think they had a problem with their family or something. And, what I said, and I saw a lot of people reply to him and said the same thing, is that you can absolutely just not go, and you can refuse to go. You can be polite about it and just say, I don't want to go. And, I just wanted to say that today before I got off of here, is that, you can say no too. And if there's something coming up, you know, like I've been talking about this week, you know, that things are warming up. It's getting to be that time of the year. And this is when people get outside and start doing more things, and the cookouts happen, and the parties at the lake, and the parties at the beach, and you name it, the backyard parties, the cul-de-sac party, you know, just hanging out with your next door neighbor in the front yard. You know, this is the time of year when people are getting outside and people want to start drinking more. And if you get invited to something and you think there's going to be a lot of people over there drinking and you don't think that you can maintain your sobriety by going, don't go. You know, and just be honest and say, you know, I'm not drinking. I just don't feel comfortable coming over there. You know, if they understand what you're saying to them, if they say, I understand, you know, it'd be nice if you could come, but I completely understand. You know, those are the kind of people you want to surround yourself with. If they give you a hard time and I can't believe you're doing this and yada, 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 I don't know if those are the type of people you want to be around, because at the end of the day, protecting your sobriety is the most important thing. Because this truly is a life or death situation. And, you know, this is our health that we're talking about. And if you've gotten sober, you know, I'm sure you have a whole lot of different reasons why. But one of the most important things that we do when we get sober is we protect our health. Because when you lose your health, you lose everything. I'm telling you guys that nothing else matters except for your health. Because if you don't have your health, you have absolutely nothing. You could have billions of dollars in the bank, but if you can't get up and walk around and do anything, that money's not worth anything. So our health is the most important thing that we have, because with us being healthy, we can get out and enjoy life. And like I said, you know, you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health to go out and enjoy that money, it's not worth anything to you. So by not drinking and staying sober, we are protecting the most important asset that we have, and that's our health. And I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that really quick. You know, once again, if you get invited somewhere and you don't think you can stay sober if you go, then just don't go. You know, just say, I'm sorry. Be polite. And just say, I can't come, and tell them why. Or, you know, make up something if you have to. At the end of the day, I know I'm talking about lies here and all this kind of stuff, but you're protecting your health in that situation. And if you know that you just can't you tell them the truth and they're not going to leave you alone, then you do what you have to do. I myself would just be honest and just tell them that I don't think I can go without drinking. And I want to protect my sobriety, and I just don't think it's a good idea for me to come. But it's your life and you do what you want to do. But, you know, once again, I really do believe that if it's something that you don't think you can go to without drinking or using or whatever, that just refuse. Don't go. Because I know in the beginning of my sobriety, there were a lot of things I couldn't do that I had to say no to. I got invited to a lot of different things that I had to refuse, because I knew if I went, I was going to want to drink way too bad. And I wasn't ready. And I'm almost 3 years into this, and there's still a lot of things I'm still not ready yet for. I don't want to be around it. I don't want to surround myself with alcohol. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to be around it. It's just not a situation or an environment that I want to be in right now. Will that day come? Maybe. But for right now, I'm not ready for it. And that's, you know, my preference. And, you know, yours could be different. You could be totally okay with it, and that's totally awesome. But once again, I just wanted to throw that in here at the end that, you know, that if you do feel uncomfortable, don't go to it. Protect your sobriety at the end of it all. But, anyway, guys, that's my video for today, and that's what I wanted to talk about. You know, we do. When we're in active addiction, the lies and the deception, they just go hand in hand, and it just never stops. We just lie. At least I did. And I've spoken to so many people who have done the same thing as me. And when we get sober, we can just be honest. There's no reason to do it anymore. And man, does it feel nice. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day today. I hope you guys have a great Easter tomorrow. You know, I hope that everybody stays sober out there tomorrow and tonight. I know this is going to be one of those tough weekends. Stay strong and remember why you're sober. You know, if you start getting those thoughts, just remember, you know, go back in your mind and say, why did I get sober in the beginning of all this? What drove me to get sober? And think about that. Think about all those horrible times that you had. Think about all those mornings of waking up with those hangovers. Think about all those times that you had anxiety so bad. You felt like your heart was just about to come out of your chest. Just think about all those negative things that come along with drinking. Because in your mind, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be so great. And man, that drink would be so awesome. And I've talked to so many people here recently, too, that have said the same thing. That drink, that idea in your head, that when you relapse and you go back to it, it is not what you think it's going to be. It's not. And you don't get the feeling that you think you're going to get either. There's just been a bunch of people in the comments talking about this recently because I've spoken about it. But anyway, guys, like I said, I hope you guys have a wonderful Easter tomorrow. And I will be doing a video tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow night. And other than that, I think that's it. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And until tomorrow, I will see y'all then. I love you guys so much.